Good evening. Welcome to XYZ Translation Project Presentation. My name is Xingyang Chen, and my co-workers are Fangxi Qin and Mia Zhang. As requested by our client, Sina News, we're supposed to provide translation service by translating an article. Video games do not cause violence, but makers need to think about it by The Guardian from the source language English to the target language Mandarin. For preparation, we divide the article into 3 sections, and each member responsible for one section. We also have built a term-based and translation memory. As for the delivery list, we provide source file, target file, updated translation memory, updated glossary, and pseudo translation files.
Okay, so next part, one of the biggest issue we have is with our glossary. And I have listed a couple of issues here, like consistency, hyperlinks, and communication preparation during the process, and I will go into each of the issue one by one. We started preparing our glossary using a shared file, but a couple of questions would be, first one is with the inconsistency. As you can see here, one of the translator has listed President Donald Trump's name using an unofficial Chinese translation. And if we forget to update a term later, it will be an improper translation in our files. And another problem is with our way of using a shared file. Until a translator has put a term here, other translators wouldn't know. So we have thought about using Anchorn to prepare our glossary. But one problem is that since we are a very small project, and after using a sub list, the terms we have here is not very usable. And second problem will be, since a lot of terms are taken out of context, until we see the full text, we couldn't determine which ones are the ones we need to translate it. And the term assault rifle is the case here. Since translators have their different views about what type of glossaries to include here, so it will cause a problem of inconsistency. After a translator has determined to include this term, other translators have to adjust accordingly and update their translation of this word. Another problem we have, before we started our translation process, we forgot to establish a style guide. So after we did our translation, something like Call of Duty, which is the name of a game, when it's being translated into Chinese, we should add quotation marks here, but some of the translators use different approaches and strategies, so it will cause an inconsistency. Same issues with proper nouns, like some of the names of game companies and websites may not have a proper Chinese translation, so we need to decide if we should leave the English translation here or create some translation ourselves. Another problem is the hyperlinks. At first, we thought we could just translate the words and ignore the hyperlink, but when we run the QA check, it actually caught our attention that if we did not include the hyperlinks in the target file, it would be reported as an error. Therefore, it is very important to have a style guide prepared at the very beginning. We didn't have our style guide before we deliver our final target files, but having a style guide even in the middle of the production process will be very helpful. One benefit we have here is that our translations actually know each other, and we can always discuss our problems and come up with solutions together. However, there are still many problems because we didn't think this is something worthy of discussion. We just take it for granted. So it could take us a lot of time and energy to fix the problems. If we have a better communication for the preparation stage, we have prepared things more thoroughly, like our translators don't know each other like a professional project manager will do, things will be much easier for us.
After we finish each of our translation, we come together as a team and try to edit our translation and try to produce our delivery. But in this process, we found out there are many problem issues that occur during our collaboration. There are 3 major issues. The first one is our team review, and the second one is how we merge our TM, and the third one is how we produce our deliverable. In the review stage, we have made 3 problems. The first one is that we have processed the text differently. Some of us process the whole text in the titles, and others only process part of text in the titles. And the second problem is that we have different segmentation rules. And the third problem is that because we haven't communicated enough during our translation, we have different term base, and we have a lot of inconsistencies in our translation. And that produces a lot of problems when it comes to combining our TM. You can see in the first graph, this graph shows that in this line, the titles doesn't really have the TM, but in actuality, one of our members translated this line, but in second graph, the titles shows the TM successfully. It tells us that the titles did not process all of our TM successfully, and we have problem merging our TM. We have come up with 2 solutions for this issue. The first one is that we just revise and review everything in the titles. But the problem with this is that because we haven't collaborated enough during our translation stage, we have a lot of inconsistencies in our translation and our term basis, and we have a lot of things we want to revise to produce a good final translation. So this would really take a lot of time and effort. The second solution is that we just revise the entire text in Word and then with our new project in Trados. And this is the solution we used. We just reduced a new project and that worked well. But we still have some questions in regards to if the project is really large, how would we solve these problems? And here there are several lessons learned. The first one is that we really should have a lot more thorough preparation and setup prior to the production stage. And we should have reached agreements on all issues regarding our translation and create necessary supporting materials such as style guides before the translation. And the third is that if we really cannot reach an agreement, then we really should keep an open line for communication to resolve any issues that emerge during the translation process. And final, one is a question. Because this project is really small, we are able to successfully solve this issue. But what if our project is really large and there are thousands of words and we have problems with our TM and with our term base? And that will take additional time and cost. And all those time will drive our cost up and will take a lot more effort and may not worth the money. After we finished merging the TM, we began to produce the final deliverables. And we found that there are several issues. The first one is that in our deliverables, we specify that we give our clients a glossary. But when we think about it, we realize that a term base will make more sense. And in this case, our project is really small. So we figured that we'll just give our clients a term base as a bonus service. But if the project is really big, we will charge the client extra if they want us to deliver a term base. The second problem is that we found out we did not specify what kind of file format for our target content. And that really costs a lot of money if the project is really big, because different software will cost different time and effort to produce the same kind of content. And because this project is small, so it saved us. It didn't really take us a lot of time to produce it in InDesign, but it's really a caution tale for us in the future. And the third problem is that we found out that we have no fonts for this project. So we just download some fonts that we think are suitable, but in actuality, we would ask a client to deliver the font to us.
As for what we did well, I think we have done 4 good things for this project. First one, we have high efficiency and good teamwork. We complete every assignment before deadline. We have a very detailed discussion, and also we contact each other for problem solving, and quickly quickly put forward solution that is accessible to all of us. And thirdly, when, for example, if we build the team base and we remind each other for the missing term. And finally, all of us have strong motivation to the project, and we want to make it a very successful one. And I think we did it. Well, we still have remaining questions after we did the project. The first one is, since we have a small word count, if it's a large text file, like over 10,000 words, we still have to consider the updating and coordinating the term base. And secondly, we were wondering if Trados has us sharing term base for different translators at the same time, so that each one can update it when they have a new term, and ultimately everyone will have a developed term base. Lastly, we want to know how to effectively communicate within our team members if it's a multilingual translation project, and we also want to know how to cooperate with each other in great efficiency.